How y'all beautiful people doing? I hope your week has been treating you good. This is actually the start of the week. My work week is crazy in the sense of like this is my Saturday. So yeah, all kinds of backwards. As you can see, we're back out here in this beautiful field. I'm back to making videos on a way more frequent basis compared to how I was moving last month. Well, I actually didn't move at all last month. You know, that's the month before that. So I'm back to frequenting this space, that space, and this space. We back out here. It's been good for me. It's good to me. Yeah, feels very nice to be back in touch with like my whole spectrum, I guess, you know, engaging everything fairly. Life is a lot smoother when you're not busy pocket watching yourself and telling yourself what being alive is about. When you just let yourself be like a little expression, just do that, dabble in whatever comes to you instead of telling yourself, no, that's contrary to the narrative structure of this particular arc. Like, I don't know. When you start telling yourself like this ain't what my life is about and shit, you just start getting you become at odds with like the natural, like we don't know what life is about. But that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. Well, not entirely true. Yeah, life and its crazy situations. Such crazy situations. Everybody is on their own, choose your own adventure, as you know, and that is to varying levels of success. That's what this world is about. It's an overarching hierarchy-like structure full of so many different souls on different levels having different experiences. You know, this little super highway that we call the real world, we spend our day in and day out interacting with each other, and that's where we get our experience from. You know, iron sharpens iron. Doesn't matter what level somebody's at, if they can provoke you and if they can engage you, they bring something out of you. You know, whether that be they leave an imprinting on you and change your emotional makeup, or, you know, you have to look deep inside yourself and find a sentiment or a lesson or a skill of yours and check the percentage it's at. Maybe you're sitting at like 30%, 40% engagement. You got to crank that up to 70, 80, 90, 100%, 200% just to make it over certain obstacles. It's just, in the crazy world of people, we bring the best and worst out of each other. And you really never know who's around to do what, you know, off rip. That's what discernment's for, to be able to kind of like pre-order and look at what people are most likely to bring to your table based off of just your ability to appraise somebody from a distance, or actually come to proper and efficient conclusions based off of the little amount of information they give you. Not the same as just jumping to conclusions about people. Discernment is like, it's a higher accuracy rate than just being schizophrenic. You know, that's the difference. That's the difference. There's paranoia and then there's discernment. Funny enough, that's like the main difference between like science, the mental world, and just true spirituality. So much of like the human world is just like, oh, prove that you know. How do you know? Why do you know? And spirituality, just at its core, is just like coming into contact with things that you know and you recognize to be true. Everything in the spiritual world is like, it's familiar and wholesome. That's what we're comprised of. But yeah, intermingling with people of many different spiritual, psychological, moral levels and whatnot. Everybody comes with different packages and different stat setups, And a lot of this game is just knowing how to navigate that correctly for your own sake. Of course, you don't want to you yourself be a hindrance or like a blockade to somebody, unless you do enjoy that. I can't make assumptions for you. And that's how it works. There are very important skills to acquire and implement correctly in order to navigate this world in a healthy manner. Have your heart intact, your soul elevated, your mind protected. Match any of those adjectives to any of those fucking objects. But yeah, protecting yourself is key, especially in a world of, to put it simple, trifling ass, crazy ass, delusional ass people. It could be like that sometimes. So guard yourself. One of the most common things that you'll run into, dealing with people who just ain't all the way arranged in the head, is you tend to run into a lot of drama and trauma and difficult conversation with you, about you, around you. If you've spent any longer than like 5 minutes outdoors, you've been in a toxic environment before, and you've had to kind of watch your back, look over your shoulder, or just proceed accordingly. Like, life is a choose your own adventure. It could be whatever you make it to be, but when you have certain goals and whatnot, there's a right and a wrong way to go about these things. There are things that when your goal is more defined, when your purpose, your intentions are more defined, there become things that are and are not counterproductive in relation to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish for yourself. So yeah, with that being said, quite like my past few videos, just talking about like social skills, which is just, navigating weird ass people. I have another entry in that little mini series I've got going on. Participating in drama is a bad idea. That, on one level, true. But deeper than that, carrying the burdens of others is never really... There's oftentimes that's not as productive an action as you may have told yourself it is. On one hand, you could just be like a codependent person struggling with your own demons, your own misinformed, misguided value system that tells you that your use is to be here and play doctor for a whole bunch of people who've yet to figure out how to walk on their own 2 feet at all times. Dealing with emotionally crippled people, that may be the role that you've assigned to yourself, which I bring to your attention. Little brief rebuttal. I bring it up because I deal with that, and I just recently was put in a position where it's like I had no choice but to shed that. The number one saving grace, the vaccine for a Captain Save a Hoe, is to finally find a hoe that you can't save. But that's a topic for another day. God didn't place you in charge. God didn't assign you the role of being a caretaker. Did he perhaps bless you with things that need to be respected and honored and maintained for you to accumulate more? Yes, but that's different than combating and saving and overly nurturing and over accommodating people with built-in deficiencies that they have kind of like removed themselves from the driver's seat of, like people who just don't know how to fight their own battles. So, your sword is looking extra dull as of late because you run twice as many fades as you should. That's one end of it. You could be codependent, assigning yourself things, going to bat for people when you necessarily don't need to, over inserting yourself into plots, and you wonder why, wow, I've had hella screen time recently. I'm kind of tired. I just want to fade into the background. Well, now you can't because you have all these affiliations to honor and maintain and obey and follow through with. It's nice to be a background character. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like with life, everybody's like, hopefully, running their own show. You're a background character in the grand scheme of things for most people, sometimes it can be healthy to you and for you to keep it that way. Fighting certain battles, not a good idea. Fight your own battles, conquer your own demons, but sometimes dealing with unhealed people, that's not your calling. Like, that's an extension of the demons and the battles that you yourself have to fight, you know? As much as I love to be the one who likes to jump in the middle of trains and stop people who just so happen to be making a habit out of taking naps on the train tracks, you know, it's not a good thing for me. Have I figured out entirely what the alternative to that is? No, that's why I'm making a video, you know? It's easier to ramble. Like, I'm either talking at the phone or I'm talking to myself at all times. You know what I mean? Like, the solution is underway, you know, just documenting that with a video right here. So yeah, you could be codependent. Maybe you could be attracting drama to you. Maybe you aren't as mindful as you should be with your affiliations and whatnot. Maybe you attract weird-ass people. Maybe you look for weird-ass people without realizing it. Or maybe you look for weird-ass people on purpose. And your priorities are crooked, or your understanding of the ramifications of that, you really don't know what it's bringing to you. You don't know what you're fostering by sheltering all these fuck niggas. Is basically what I'm saying. You think you got it under control. You think you got it under wraps. You think it's a little aesthetic. Yeah, I'm toxic and whatnot, brother. You're dealing with poisons. It's going to take so much time to try and like draw out of yourself. Like, it's not cool to be Future, bro. Future can't even be Future all the time. You gotta stay out the way. Be calm. Well, not have to. You know, like I said, choose your own adventure. You know, everything has its own input and output. I'm just saying that many people, including myself, have seen the tail end of that lifestyle, and depending on your priorities, it's not very fulfilling, so you have to get away. Not that you have to, but again, if your soul prioritizes in a way, then there's certain things that you can't be doing. If you're trying to make a cake, don't be fucking around with ketchup. So yeah, you could be addicted to drama, consciously or subconsciously. I don't think there's a way to be consciously drawn to drama. I feel like the more aware you are, the less often you entertain chaos. I think that's just how it goes. I mean, I don't know. With as wide as the universe is, I'm sure there are beings where it's like, oh yeah, coming online means becoming more and more of a trifling bitch. Maybe that works for a being or two, but not over here. I don't know many human beings that run like that. So yeah, sticking your neck out for certain people, again, everybody is caught within their own trial, their own infinite dream, and it's their responsibility to wake themselves up out of it. Can you be a catalyst? Can you be a really good side character? Could you be a W-mans from the sideline? Yeah, but when you start making it your mission to seek out broken people and restore them, you know, you can be a good influence in close proximity. That's a different thing than like going out and focusing on external things, like as some kind of like unconscious substitute to doing your own shit. It's never really like a good thing, taking on other people's burdens, because it makes you feel like, I don't know, you've got your shit together. I don't know. Never know. But there's so many reasons why people do this, and none of them are really good enough, especially not compared to the trouble you go to. People go through great lengths defending and perpetuating these habits and hobbies and whatnot. Just don't do that shit. It's not good for you. Stay out the way. Stop attracting weird people. And another thing comes down to trying to save people who aren't weird from weird people. That is also a waste of time. You know, of course, you could do the ooga booga, bear in that cave, don't do that. You could do that, but sometimes even that is too much. Some people are balls deep in their own canon event, and trying to go after that will just put you in harm's way, trying to spoil a movie for somebody else, trying to tell somebody so-and-so dies in Avengers so-and-so, when the nigga's clearly at the theaters to go watch so-and-so for himself. You know, like, don't be out here spoiling the movie for niggas, you know? There are some people who benefit from that, but that's where discernment comes in, because you have to be able to make the right judgment call and be like, you know what, this person, nah, they need to find out the hard way. They in the middle of something. And then other people, it's like, you know what, maybe I could spare them, you know, a few extra feet, a few miles worth of walking by letting them know that the Taco Bell they're looking for isn't in that direction. It's that way. You know, sometimes you can do people favors. Other times you're doing people a great disservice to their character development by warning them of dangers. You know what I mean? It's through certain sufferings, it's through certain skill issues that you learn not to do that shit again. And sometimes depriving somebody of the opportunity to learn the hard way, they never truly learn what it is that you protected them from. So they never truly develop an appreciation for just how important it is to not be caught in that situation. Some people have to bust their head open in order to learn, oh yeah, this isn't what that's about. And you trying to go out of your way to Batman it up and save people from their own like personally assigned matrix, it's a waste of your time. And truth be told, that may be a character trait of your own matrix, you know, going out of your way to save people from shit that they, you know, by plot demand cannot, should not, and will not avoid. It's not your job to make those judgment calls like, oh yeah, I want to save this person. Like, buddy, you, like, as much as we like to avoid suffering and as virtuous a thing as it is to save people or prevent suffering and whatnot, you exist in a very dual, I've been saying a lot of big words, but it's just like, what is it, multifaceted experience. You know what I mean? Like, even just my most recent video was talking about getting the non-dual perspective and understanding that feeling down isn't equivalent to falling behind. Feeling good doesn't mean that you're, you know, that you're on top of the world. You know, there's somebody who's going through a deep depression right now, but on the opposite end of that, he will find great transmutation, great transformation, and be all the better off for it, even though he's getting his ass beat right now. And then there's somebody who cracks 5-6 nuts a day, and their life is actually not that admirable, not that enviable. Is that a word? I don't know. So it's like, there really is no, there's no easy way to assign, oh, good to good, bad to bad. We live in a multifaceted experience where people are bound to get their shit rocked. And when you internalize, no, I don't like that, I don't like to see that, you fall at odds with the way this world is set out to work. There's many dubs and many L's to be taken here. So trying to be the interrupting force between all of that being, oh, I'm the barrier between crime and the streets. Like, yeah, sure, run your little crusade for a little bit, but there comes a time where, and this is the little saying that's been in my head. I'm gonna have to paraphrase myself because I can't directly quote it the way I heard it a few days ago, but it's like, if you go around, stick it, if you are reckless, careless with where, when, and for whom you stick your neck out, you may eventually find yourself facing the guillotine alone. That's the quote of the day. You stick your neck out for too many people, not even too many people. You stick your neck out for the wrong people, and you're gonna end up at that chopping block by yourself. You know what I mean? Sitting here playing whack-a-mole with niggas, fighting their battles for them, and you the one who ends up getting your fucking head chopped off. Why? Because you're taking somebody else's place in their own ass whooping. Moving the Jordan, moving the Timberland from off of their face and saying, no, me, you get away from her. You know, like, let people solve their own beefs. Let people get their asses beat and come out better for it. If they're not getting better for it, then they're not done getting their ass beat. It's not your job to sit here and interfere with everybody's internal process. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to look at these things like recipes, like experiments and whatnot. Your life is like a chemical experiment. You know, every single thing that happens to you is a step or an ingredient in the process it takes to create a future you, like your higher self, the best version of you. There's a recipe under that nigga, and that recipe, the ingredients in that fucking little recipe list, those are the canon events you got to go through in order to become this. So when you're interrupting people's dishes and whatnot. You're stepping into the kitchen. Maybe you're removing ingredients. Maybe you're adding shit that doesn't belong in that final dish. You can never be too sure. That's why anytime, you see those movies that have time travel and whatnot, what do they always tell you to do? To stay the fuck out the way, because it already happened. Truth be told, this already happened. You know what I mean? So stop getting in the way. Stop getting in the way of other people's canon events. Stop being an interrupting force. Can't save everybody. You could barely even save yourself. What are you doing tasking yourself with helping other people? And it's not about being allergic to helping other people. That's not what it's about. It's about developing some weird complex with pre-firing stuff and encountering calamity. It's a waste of time. You're not Paul Revere, my nigga. You are not the British are coming, my nigga. You're not that guy. Not that guy. Stay healthy. Stay happy. You want to help somebody, pray for their ass. Pray for their ass. Maybe Amazon them a good book. But don't be out here fighting Joker, Two-Face, and Clayface and Poison Ivy on their fucking behalf. You know what I mean? Especially when they love that shit. They love that shit. You know what you look like? When you do that shit, you look like Red Hood offering to kill the Joker when Batman deep down wants that nigga alive. Because he could change. He could change. I keep hope for people. Yeah. Look where that's getting you. Look at where that's getting other people. You are volunteering other people to be the Joker's little victims and whatnot. So yeah. Don't save. You can't keep Jason Todd from going after the Joker, getting his shit rocked, and turning into Red Hood. And you as Red Hood, you can't get in the way of Batman and Joker's little situation. You look crazy. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Trying to third party that shit doesn't always work. There are times where it may work because maybe a specific trial of yours was to stand up for something or get in the way. This isn't bystander propaganda. This is about taking your role as a participant in any given situation as seriously as possible. You know what I mean? There's a time, it's like the equivalent of like, I don't know what's up with like the superhero comparisons today. But it's like how when you see like Spider-Man solo movies, he's getting his shit rocked. Bro, where's the Hulk? Where's Thor? You know how many Spider-Man movies would last 15 minutes if other superheroes were able to just third party that shit? No, nigga, it's his movie. Let people have their movies. You know what I mean? Stay the fuck out the way. We're in this beautiful fucking park. I'm staying the fuck out the way. I'm outside, but best believe I'm staying the fuck out the way. Do that too. It's so good for you. Eat your veggies. Ignore fuck niggas. Drink water. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Little Sims before, but she had an album out this year. Lotus is really good. Unrelated. But yeah, good music. Have your own hemisphere. If you got Hulu, there's a really good anime watch. It's called Sonny Boy. I got a PS4 at home, nigga. I'm a Sony boy. But yeah, watch that. It's SONNY boy. That's pretty good. Yeah, shout out Bleach. Shout out Bleach. Shout out that new Earl sweatshirt. Yeah. None too crazy, people. Just like life. Your day by day. My brain, I was like actively, like, my gears were turning, thinking of like a really good caption. Like a religious bitch in a psych ward, bruh. None too crazy. Should have kept that to myself. Bye.